In this video, we are required to find which of the two has a larger perimeter. Is it the square? So this is a square and this is a circle. So is it the square or the circle that has a larger perimeter? Well, the perimeter of a circle is the same as its circumference. Yeah, so don't be confused. So which of these has a larger, outing, a larger perimeter? So first of all, this is the center of the circle. Let it be O. Okay. Next, let's label these points of the square. Let this be P, Q, R, and S. Now, let's draw a vertical line from a point, say, T, around here, so that it passes through the center of this circle up to this point here, which meeting the tangent, a point of tangency. So as you can see, I've drawn the vertical line. I'm calling this point T and this point U. Well, due to tangent to a circle theorem, a radius to a circle is perpendicular to the tangent line. So this is 90 degrees. So if this is 90 degrees, this is also 90 degrees. Also, from a chord of a circle theorem, the radius or diameter perpendicular to a chord divides the chord into two equal parts. So as you can see, this line here, which is the radius O, heading towards to be the diameter, it cuts, if it's perpendicular to the chord, then it means it cuts this chord into two equal parts. That implies that PT is equals to TS. So let's assume that PT is X. So if PT is X, that implies that also TS is X. As we know, this is the center. So OU is the radius of this circle. Let's call it R. Now let this remaining portion from point T to point O, let us call it Y. Next, let's connect center O to point S. Just like this. Now we can notice that this line is running from the center to the circumference of the circle, so implying that line OS is also the radius of this circle. And we said radius is R, so also OS is R. So now PS is equals to PT plus TS, which is equals to X plus X, which is 2X. And we know that PS is the side of the square. This is a square. PQRS is a square. So if PS is 2X, that implies that all the sides are 2X. So this side is 2X. Also QR is 2X. Also PQ is 2X. Now if we shift our focus to this triangle TOS, this is TOS, this is R, this is Y, and this is X. This is 90 degrees, so making it a right angle triangle. Since it's a right angle triangle, we're going to solve it using the Pythagoras theorem. Okay, so Pythagoras theorem is A squared plus B squared is equals to C squared. Our A is X, so X squared plus our B is Y, Y squared, our hypotenuse is R, so R squared. Let this be equation 1. Now, since TU is equals to SR, okay, so TU is TO plus OU, and TO is Y, so Y plus OR is R, so OU is R, is equals to SR, which is 2X. So let's make the Y the subject here. Y will be equals to 2X minus R. Let's call this equation 2. Now let's substitute this equation 2 substitute equation 2 into equation 1. Okay, so our equation 1 is x squared plus y squared is equals to r squared. But according to equation 2, y is 2x minus r. So we replace for y. So we shall have x squared plus 2x minus r, all this squared is equals to r squared. Now from a minus b squared being equals to a squared minus 2ab plus b squared, this expression now becomes x squared. When you expand this in this form, you shall have 4x squared minus 4xr plus r squared. So this is equals to r squared. So in this r crosses to this side, they cancel. So this cancels out. So we are left with x squared plus 4x squared gives us 5x squared minus 4xr. This is equals to 0. So since x is common, let's factor it out. So we shall have x into 5. Since this is x squared, we have 5x minus 4r is equals to 0. So we have two options. X is either equals to 0 or 5x minus 4r is equals to 0. So 5x is equals to 4r. Divide both sides by 5. So x is equals to 4r over 5. But as you know, x represents distance from t to s, or from p to t, its distance, so it cannot be 0. So we reject this solution and only consider x is equals to 4r over 5. So now we know that perimeter of a circle is the same as circumference. Circumference is 2 pi r. Okay, that's how we find circumference of a circle. Then perimeter of a square will be, we add all the sides, 2x plus 2x plus 2x plus 2x, which makes it 8x. Now let's write the perimeter of the square as a ratio to the perimeter of the circle. So perimeter of square to circumference or perimeter of the circle. So this will be equals to, so the perimeter of the square we said is 8x, and the circumference of the circle is 2 pi r. Of course, r is still r here. So 2 pi r. But we already got that x is 4r over 5. So we replace here. This will be equals to 8 into 4r over 5 divided by 2 pi r. This 2 goes into 8 4 times. So we are left with 4 into 4r over 5 divided by pi r. This is equals to 4 times 4 is 4 times 4r is 16r over 5. Then divide by this, it will be the same as multiplication of this reciprocal. So times 1 over pi r. So as you can see, this r cancels with this r. So we have 16 times 1 is 16 over 5 pi. Pi is 3.14. So 3.14 times 5. So we shall have 16 over, this gives us 15.7. Remember, this is ratio of perimeter of square to circumference of circle. That implies that the perimeter of the square is slightly bigger than the perimeter of the circle, circumference of the circle. So we conclude and say the perimeter of the square is slightly bigger than the perimeter or circumference of the circle. Okay, so that's our conclusion after our findings. Thank you so much for watching. Kindly subscribe to this channel for more amazing videos. Like, comment, and share your thoughts about this video in the comment section down below. Yeah, please do not forget to subscribe. Thank you so much. Let's meet in the next one.